Welcome to Own the Chaos.
Chaos Crew.
The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
And then there's the Kronos Group. Yes, people, how could I not have a pot stock on this list?
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
All right, we got the top stocks to buy if Kanye wins the presidency.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
That is crazy.
We have a nice super boner, quite a lovely green one.
Over $31.
We have a nice super boner.
Ba-da-da. What's up, guys? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. That is Fat Man Zoom. The stock market is crazy and chaotic. We've made it our mission to help you own it, and owning it, we are Fat Man Zoom. What up, my man?
Hey, what's going on? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, bro. Penn National popping off. Tesla's rolling back. Offering no big deal. It's good. It's a good day.
Yeah. So we have a lot to talk about today. We got a few topics of discussion. I'm going to give you guys sort of the housekeeping because last week we changed up the structure a bit. So we're going to talk about a few topics. We're going to have a main topic, which is Palantir. We're going to answer questions regarding the stocks we mentioned. So we'll sort of pause, get into that. And then afterwards at 3:30, we have a segment that's a private for our members. It's called the Closing Bell. We're going to go, and that's where we're going to be able to answer all your questions. So I know everybody's chatting away. I love it. But just so you know, all your random questions, we're not going to be able to answer because we're going to be focusing on this. So topics for today, we got a lot going on this week. And specifically, we wanted to talk about today, we want to talk about the MORE Act, some cannabis stocks. DoorDash IPO is tomorrow. And the Palantir deal. And this list was made before all the Penn started going off. So we're going to talk about Penn. We're going to talk about Michigan as well. So we got a lot of good stuff going on. But first, let's take a look at the overall market. And let's start with Penn. I mean, Penn has been on the watch list. We've been banging the drum about it. This was the move we said right about now.
Yeah. Beautiful, man. I mean, it broke right up through those all-time highs and just said, see ya. We got to take a look at the chart right now. It's sitting at $78.13, which it's never been at before, say for the last couple hours, but it has gone as high as $79.11. Fat Man Zoom and I were saying that we feel as if we saw a Penn going to $90 a share, especially with this Michigan news coming about. Now, we have yet to really kind of pinpoint that this is the reason that it's moved, but we've tried to find anything else as to why. This has to be the reason as to why Penn National is moving. We're seeing DraftKings, LCA, some of the other ones also making moves. But Penn obviously is the one that I'm the most excited about because I'm in it. I actually did put a small stop. I just wanted to trim out a little bit of this. So I actually have a stop loss around $77.40. If by some chance it trips down through there, then I'll end up trimming some out. But I'm up so big on this, I needed to trim some just to kind of manage risk a little bit and manage my exposure. But man, it's going to feel good even if I do end up having to take some profit on this. Just an amazing move, man.
Yeah. So I think what you were seeing, and it's funny because every morning I wake up and check my emails. I've got Google alerts set, and there's only 4 things I got it set for: MGM, Spirit, top stocks, and now it's the Michigan Gaming Control Board.
Yeah.
So anytime I see an email that has that alert, I get so amped. But locally, that's what a lot of the outlets are talking about. Last Tuesday, legislation waived the 15-day waiting period, which essentially meant that at the beginning of the year, if they didn't waive that, the gaming board would have had to wait an additional 2 weeks, actually 3 weeks, because it's 15 business days to put that through, right?
Yeah.
So to put the registration through. So that waived it. So what they've been doing now is they've essentially been getting with all of the online platforms or anybody who plans to do sports books online, and they've been setting them up for their registration, so their filings. So they're working with them now, making sure they're ready to launch. And so each company has certain requirements to submit to the Gaming Control Board for them to say, okay, you're good to go move forward. What we're seeing locally, and if you're not in Michigan, you probably won't be seeing this, is there's the companies, FanDuel and DraftKings, are starting to launch their registration bonuses. So sign up now, registration, so they can sign up on their platform now. And they're they're beginning that process. So I think FanDuel's registration went live this week, maybe today, but it was yesterday or today it went live. So now that we're seeing that, DraftKings launched their bonus. So they're pushing people to their platform, which shows that it's coming. It might still be early in January. It might not happen in December. I doubt it'll happen in December, but it'll be the beginning of January where they'll officially launch. But again, it's too late. If you wait until then, it's too late. I think that's the move we're seeing now.
Yeah. And I just wanted to credit Fat Man Zoom too, man, because bro, like, this was something that was not being followed on mainstream media too much. And this is something that you had to really do some digging. And so this is what we bring to you guys and bring to Own the Chaos, is just this kind of those tidbits of information that you're not going to find on, Mad Money. You're not going to find on Yahoo Finance. Doing actual digging and investigative work on trying to find a lot of this stuff out is really what it's all about, getting in before everybody else finds out about it. And if this ends up being the case, well, this is just another classic example of that. So well done, my man.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I do it for the people. I'm a man of the people.
That's right. So as far as Penn National goes, or any other gaming stocks, like I said, we've been in this for a while, so I'm just setting a stop for the just in case. Let's just say, there's some huge profit taking. I want to make sure that I get mine too. Not selling all the way out of it, but I think that trimming out just makes a little bit of sense. But Penn, man, it's still rolling. It's trying to go back up to those to the high of the day right now, 78.83 with 79.11 highs. Man, just unbelievable move. I'm super pumped. This small account is just going off today. Really, this last couple of weeks, it's been incredible.
Yeah, Michael G, a couple of people are commenting on this. Michael G said DraftKings had a nice dip this morning. It did have a nice dip this morning. If you were in the mentorship, Brad actually mentioned yesterday a good entry. I believe you had said like below 46 or 45, which 45, went right down to. It was down over 3%. And then that move happened, and then it went in the green. So yeah, it was a great dip by Michael. If you were able to do that, that's great. To the moon, had a great swing. Good job. And Jeff Chow. So let me answer this question, Jeff Chow. This is a stupid question, but why is it important that Michigan is the one who approves? Not a stupid question.
No.
Michigan. It's important that Michigan approves because Michigan is who's in control of it. So December of last year, the state approved online gaming. Okay. And this should have been done by now. And so for whatever reason, it got pulled back, largely COVID reasons, but it's a done deal. It's been voted on, legislation's passed. Now it's just executing, and the Gaming Control Board is responsible for executing. What they're approving is not legislation. What they were approving is there's a rule in place that any sort of implementation has to go through a 15-day waiting period, which pushes everything back. And they would have had to essentially they would have had to resubmit. So now you're pushing it back weeks, maybe months.
Yeah.
And so they were voting to forego that measure where they would have had to basically resubmit through the 15-day period. So all it did was save us a month, and it just shows that they're ready to rock, and this is actually going to happen ASAP. So now all we're waiting for is for the companies to submit their filings and their paperwork. So then Michigan Gaming could say, you're essentially allowed to trade online. And there's parameters. You have to be, and every state's different, but for Michigan, if I'm not mistaken, you have to be associated with a brick and mortar casino. So FanDuel, for example, they're strictly online. So they have to make a deal with the local casino, and they have to say, hey, here's, we're going to partner, and that's got to get approved by the Michigan Gaming Control Board. That's why Penn National Barstool deal is such an incredible deal, is because in other states, Louisiana is the same way. Those are the things that have to happen. Well, Barstool already has it built in with Penn. So any casino, they've already got that partnership. It's seamless. It's easy. And so that's really what we're waiting for. Legislation's approved. Everything's going to happen. There's nothing to worry about. Now we just need the damn things to launch, and then them to start betting. And you better bet with all the casinos closing in Michigan. They're doing everything they can to open this up for the biggest sports betting day of the year, which is Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that's why this is so important.
That and the reason, obviously we love Penn for a lot of reasons, but Dave Portnoy has a huge presence in Michigan. I mean, he went to school there and just is always talking about Michigan. So, we know that how much of a big deal being in Pennsylvania and in Philadelphia and all that has been, and what that's done for that whole community in the town. I can't imagine that it's going to be nothing short of incredible, the impact that's going to have in Michigan as well, because of just that's kind of where his roots are, and that's where you have one of the biggest followings of Barstool is there too. So that, I think, is just going to be huge for Penn. It's going to be huge for all of the other sports betting companies out there too, but Penn in particular, I think, is where it really could outshine the rest in that particular state. And, again, we've talked about how, being in these companies or being in sports betting right now, it's not slowing down. I mean, we still have legalization in 10 other states in 2021. This is going to be huge. And I think that we're just scratching the surface with this. This is why we're so bullish on Penn National.
Yeah. And we got a few people shouting out. They're in it. So I'm glad you guys listened, because this has been in the watch list so many times. We got James. It looks like James McCray. Rudy Brown took profit on Penn and Snapchat. Another one of our call outs that did really well. Snapchat's been killing it. Soaring Stock said Snapchat has bull flag after bull flag.
It does.
I don't know when it's going to stop. I'm just enjoying the ride.
Yeah, Fat Man Zoom's up 100% on Snapchat too. So, I mean, it's something we've been talking about since the low 20s. It's just been an amazing ride on that thing.
Alan said, I'm about to give up. I've lost over 30K in this past year. It's eating my soul. That's why you don't have a bear or bull by you, man. Join the crew. We'll help you out.
Oh, I like that.
Was that a low-key dig? I didn't mean that.
No, I don't think so. I think it was just, hey, if you're not in, you're not in, No,
but yeah. And so, Alan, we feel your pain. That's why this was created. I mean, all I got to say is we have many people that have that same story where they were losing money. And it's not that we tell you anything about stocks, but we talk about our strategy and we talk about our mindset. And really, I think that's the biggest thing is we help people understand their strategy, and they get to develop their strategy. Because I think what it boils down to is it's either FOMO, bag holding, or lack of strategy. Yeah. And usually it's all three of them.
Yep, exactly. And we try to, bring to light just some of those best practices. We're not telling you what to buy. This isn't we're guaranteeing you're going to make money or anything like that, but we just show what we do. And, I show you my entire account before on this channel and just how we, have best practices and that sort of thing. Year to date, the public Webull portfolio is now up over 42%. And you compare that to the regular stock market, or the regular markets rather, they're only up around 7%. So, I mean, it's just been, it works. It's not a get rich overnight kind of thing, but it works. And that's what we try to promote. And man, if you're down over the last couple of weeks, this is probably since the beginning of November, it's probably the best trading period I've ever had in my career. Not sure if I can speak for, I'm sure you probably did too, Fat Man Zoom. It's probably an amazing month for you too, but man, just, come join us. Come check us out. Hit the join button next to subscribe if you want to be a part of the Chaos crew. We also have a link in the description if you can't see it there. But man, we put out watch lists every day. We put out private live streams and do all kinds of other stuff. You get access to that Webull portfolio, and it's $4.99 a month. Not only that, but we are getting ready to round out 1,000 members. It keeps teetering around that. We're getting so close. But yesterday we were at 990. Today we're at 980. So it's going all over the place, but we are so close. And once we do, we'll be giving you guys a free Tesla stock to a lucky winner. We're going to raffle that off once we hit that 1,000 member mark. And it's been awesome ride so far. We can't thank you guys enough for the support that you provided for us too.
Yeah. So the last question before we get into the next topic, I guess Penn's at a new high of the day.
That's 79.18.
Strategy is so since we're talking about strategy, who was it? James Parrison asks, are you holding Penn long term?
Yes. Yes. So just because I'm holding Penn long term doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not going to sell any of it. And that's what I was talking about earlier. I do have a stop loss in place just to trim some Penn off, just to take some profit and just to say I have some profit. But no, I don't plan on selling Penn for a while. I think it's going to continue to run.
Nice. All right. So moving on, because I could talk about Penn all day.
I know, man. It's so
and
much fun.
all day. Let's go to the MORE Act. So the MORE Act, and cannabis stocks.
Yes.
Maybe kind of a last year thing where cannabis was on fire. I know people have been talking about being frustrated with it. And it's kind of taken a backseat to EVs, but very much brought back to the forefront with the MORE Act. So you want to talk a little bit about the MORE Act, and if anybody doesn't know what your play is for the cannabis stock.
Yeah, so the MORE Act essentially is the bill that just passed through the House that decriminalizes cannabis on the federal level. So next up is the Senate, and there is bipartisan support on this, but it seems to be that there are more Republicans that are not in favor of this than are, but it's more bipartisan than it has been. And so that's encouraging. We'll see what happens if this gets passed through the Senate. If it does, great news for cannabis stocks, and in particular, CGC for me. I like CGC particularly because it's the largest cannabis company. They got their shit together. They have great support from major companies, and whereas the rest of them don't. The rest of them essentially have either loads of debt because of the lack of support from the federal level, but CGC has figured out how to do it on a private in a private sense. And so once this goes through, there's other mergers that will be happening once things are legalized on the federal level with CGC as well. So really, when anybody asks me about weed stocks, I just say go with the best. And when you're looking at Aurora Cannabis and stuff like that, yes, they can pop off. Some of the weed penny stocks can pop off, and they probably will. But the risk versus reward here is severe. And so, you're looking at something like Aurora Cannabis, who could potentially put out another offering because they're just in so much debt. Some of the other ones as well, just have loads of dilution, where CGC doesn't fit into that mold. And so I'd much rather go with something like this. But also keep in mind, well, first of all, I would say that CGC is a buy under $20 or under $30 right now, sitting at 28.60, having a nice move up end of day. But I would say also that even if it does pass through Senate, there's still hoops that they have to jump through to really kind of get it to mass market. There's a lot of regulations that they're going to have to formulate. This is just to pass it and decriminalize it on the federal level. This doesn't have anything to do with how they're going to tax people on it, how they're going to, have it distributed legally, all that good stuff. So there's still litigation to go through, but this is just another really great step in legalizing cannabis. And for anybody who's interested in it, like I said, CGC is the play for me.
Yeah. And it looks like it's approaching sort of a key resistance. So hopefully once it starts moving, it has a nice run up. Anton said, why is CGC not growing? I'm not sure what you mean, because if I'm looking at it, especially since earnings, it's looking like it has a nice move up. I don't know if you're trying to look for those like 30% swings, and the volatility is insane, but
I mean, it's doubled since the end of October. So I don't know what more you want, Yeah,
just manage expectations with stocks. I mean, we're the slow, steady, right?
Yeah.
Like we're trying to be consistent with wins, slowly build. And yeah, we'll hit a stitch fix here and there. Good job, Brad. We'll hit a stitch fix here and there. But really it's about slow and steady, getting in good positions. We're not trying to play the gamble game and hoping an Aurora cannabis hits and then we're stuck holding the bag. But you'll be fine with this. It's actually looking really well.
Yeah.
Really good on the chart. But moving on, because we've talked a ton about cannabis stocks. Let's talk about the DoorDash IPO.
Yeah.
So that happens tomorrow. We did a video for anybody that is asking about Airbnb. Check out the channel. We actually released the video yesterday on the Airbnb IPO. Talks about why Brad's buying it and why I'm waiting to buy it. because Brad typically does not play IPOs. Neither one of us do, but this time's different. So check out that video. However, DoorDash is today's topic. We didn't get an opportunity to discuss it yet, but still a pretty big IPO, especially given the lockdown measures.
Yeah, and really, I when you compare it to Uber Eats or Grubhub or some of the other ones, DoorDash seems to be a little bit better than the others in the way that they have themselves set up. This is definitely going to be one, though, that I would stay away from at the open. I'm sure it's going to go nuts, but I'm definitely going to be waiting for the pullback here. I think it's going to have a very similar reaction to what we saw with Asana, what we saw with Palantir, which we'll be talking about shortly here, Snowflake, all those other ones. I think that they're definitely poised to have a much better outcome than Grubhub and Uber Eats. I think in large part because, yeah, they have had a little touch of that grow at all costs, but it's not nearly as severe as Uber has been, which has been a huge detriment to that company. Uber Eats as well. I think DoorDash is a little bit better positioned heading into this IPO, especially given the timing with the pandemic and everything else.
Yeah. We've talked at length about this offline, and you were even, we were at dinner this week, and me and some hospitality folks got into a bit of a heated discussion about
I was surprised about how, how much pushback was being given on this. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it really boils down to a true lack of holistic understanding from a business perspective.
Yeah.
I can't get behind a business that it's the person that it's forget the customers, but the clients they're targeting. The clients are restaurants. The clients have to approve it. I can't get behind a business that fundamentally screws their clients.
Right.
And what we were talking about, what we mentioned was people don't really, I don't think really understand the model. The customers, I don't think they understand what's happening here. The only platform that I like is Chow Now. And the reason why I like Chow Now, which is not a publicly traded company, is because it charges a flat monthly fee and it works in favor of the proprietor. It works in favor of the business. So if you don't know how these businesses make money or work, these companies, so DoorDash, I believe, is second only to Grubhub, and Grubhub bought Order Up. So it's essentially the same company. They partner with the business. They say, hey, we're gonna market your company. We're gonna market your menu. We're gonna basically provide delivery for you because it's a hard service to manage. And they say, well, we're just gonna take a cut.
Yeah.
Well, Grubhub's like 30%. Chow Now is 20% plus a delivery charge. And you essentially, as a business owner, can up your price to account for the 20%, or don't do anything and keep your prices, which most businesses do because they don't want to look like they're overcharging their customers. And I don't think customers realize that. The average business, a good hospitality establishment, will net profit 20%. That's the number you're actually going for. And that's a good one, not a great one, not a bad one. So that means that if you're just good, you're making $0, and most are losing money off of it. And so it's just not a good business investment, but you have to do it. And so it kind of frustrates me because they get away with it, and customers don't realize what's happening, and they think they're supporting small business or local business, and they're just not.
Yeah, and I actually had a local business owner on this channel to talk about that very same topic when Uber Eats was really kind of talking about a potential merger with Grubhub. That was a big thing. Lots of people were talking about that. And that was just a few months ago. And he was even speaking to the fact that, if you really want to support small business, going through these delivery services isn't really the answer. Just go straight to the restaurant. Most of them have delivery service of their own now, or just go and pick it up. I mean, at the end of the day, is it really that big of a deal to just go drive and pick it up and go back home? So if you really want to support small business, that's the best way to go about doing it.
It is. And I'll tell you what, man, I think that what you're going to see is, I think consumers are going to catch on to it. And Felicia actually mentioned, she said, I'm with you. The little guy is really screwed by DoorDash and Grubhub. They have these businesses in a real bind. Basically, they have the businesses by the balls. That's what they have.
Right.
But I believe this is going to happen. I believe, especially with this all coming to light with the pandemic, I think people are going to realize it. And I think they're going to get a lot of pushback. We saw, actually, Al was a major reason why in DC, the local government actually limited the amount that the companies can charge. I think it was like 10%.
Yep.
And so I think as people catch wind, they're going to move to the chow now model. And so long term for this stock, I don't think DoorDash makes it through because of the point I made at the beginning, which is your client, you can't screw them over and expect that to be a sustainable business model long term.
Yeah.
And it works. Chow Now does it, and they do a great job, and they do it a fair way. Hey, it's $150 a month for our service, our platform. You keep everything after that. What's wrong with that? So I think that's what's going to happen long term for these companies, and they're going to be forced to switch their model.
Yeah, all great points. Definitely agree with a lot of them, and you know, we'll see how this goes. Definitely still think that there's going to be some bullish type movement on this, but I agree. I don't think this is going to be something that I necessarily would be holding on to long term, but there's certainly swing plays that are going to be in there and opportunities for DoorDash. Just not sure that this is something that I want to hop into right away either.
Yeah. So next on the list, we have the main topic of discussion, which is Palantir. So it was
What a
released,
monster.
the news was released today that they had a deal with the FDA that was $44.4 million to manage some of their data. And that was focusing on drug reviews and inspection and logistical things. And so that deal came through, the thing goes up 20%, skyrockets. So let's discuss a little bit what that means. But by all accounts, this is great.
Yeah. I just want to, you know, puff my chest out a little bit because I called this one to a T as well. So if you guys recall, this was one of our top stocks under $25 just last week after Morgan Stanley downgraded Palantir. And we look at it now and see that it's gone up 20 percentage points or so since then. And it's just been an absolute monster. So I said once they got downgraded, this was going to be a good opportunity. I still felt really strongly about Palantir. And sure enough, this news comes out, skyrockets it back up near $30 a share. I ended up getting into a starter position. I think this goes much higher, Fat Man Zoom. There's so many good things going on with Palantir. This is just one of them. You know, we've talked about how 50% of the revenue comes from the U.S. government, so there's definitely a lot of security there as well. And with them continuing to grow like this, I think there's just so much more good side up for Palantir. And honestly, I think that when they went through this direct listing, that they ended up shorting themselves a little bit and undervaluing themselves. And I think that's why we're seeing such strong movement out of them recently.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of room for this stock. I feel really good about it. It's partnered with the NIH through the government, the Department of Defense, now the FDA. Only going to be more and more, and you want your clients to be government clients.
Yeah.
So, and they're also going to private companies as well. So there's huge opportunity there. I don't think this is also, you know, we mentioned Salesforce as a company to think about as a vaccine play. Palantir is doing the same thing.
Yep.
It's a vaccine play. So I think there's a few on the outskirts like Palantir that actually are great vaccine plays, and they're going to help out with managing the data, storing the data and analyzing it. So I like it, man. I think it's time.
Yeah, for me, like I said, I ended up getting a starter on this on a little bit of a pullback. I don't know what took me so long to get into this thing, but I did end up getting a starter at 28, 26. I think that if this does end up pulling back to around $25 or lower, I will then add to this one to continue to build a position. But you can bet that I'll be adding to this along the way. Even if this continues to go up, I have no problem averaging up into a company that I strongly believe in. And so this is going to be something that I certainly will continue to keep in my portfolio and build upon, because I think this is going to be something that really gets a move on. Not sure if did you end up getting into this one at all too?
I did not. I just got into Asana.
That's what okay. So I wasn't sure. So I got into Asana today as well, and we'll talk about that later this afternoon with our Chaos Group peeps. But yeah, this is just going to be another amazing mover. I think Palantir has a really strong future for this thing, and I don't like to put my tinfoil hat on, but I got to believe that Morgan Stanley knew something was coming with them to do a downgrade. And then just days later, this goes right back up with a $44 billion deal. So I think that it's, I don't know, man. I think this is going to have a really bright future. It's worth holding on to. Even at this level, it's worth buying into it at $28.
Yeah, I agree. We got a few comments. But first, shout out to Evelyn Ami. Welcome to the crew. Gualberto Maldonado, welcome to the crew. Hey, Sean, is my volume? See, I feel like my volume's too loud now. Is my volume better? I think you meant my
It is
volume.
a bit peaky.
I just adjusted it.
That's a little bit better. Yeah.
Whose volume's off? But hopefully that's better, Sean. But regarding this, Daniel Gonzalo, how do you get to level 2? You should be able to hit the membership tab and upgrade there. So you should be able to upgrade to level 2 there. If you have any issues with that, you can actually just join through ownthechaos.com. So if you go to ownthechaos.com, I guess we should probably, this is sort of advanced news, but eventually we're going to shift level 2 over there just because we've been having some issues with YouTube. But go to ownthechaos.com. There's member levels. Click on the member, click join. You can do it there, but try YouTube first. Questions regarding or statements regarding Palantir. I had, who's this? Shoot. Oh, Nick. Nick Salty, I sold my Palantir, but I bought it $10.50. So you made money. You're good.
Damn. Hell yeah.
You're
I mean, and we've been saying ever since their IPO, we said that this was a buy under 10. And I wasn't expecting the kind of move that we saw after we called it a buy under 10. Like we did that fast, but man, it obviously people are catching on to this, and it's incredible. It's incredible to see this kind of move out of the
shout out to Sean. Palantir was his first triple digit gain. Nice work.
That's awesome, man.
Percentage gain.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, so we feel good about it. I'll be looking at opportunities to get into it. I'm probably going to focus on my Asana trade over the next couple days first, and then we'll move on from that. But with that being said, that is our main topic, Palantir for the day. There you have it, man.
Yeah, guys. So if you are interested in continuing to hang out with us, we are going to be going live with our Chaos Crew members at 3:30 p.m. with what we call the closing bell. So if you guys want to be a part of that, make sure you're hitting the join button next to subscribe, or the link is in the description as well. And that's going to do it for our topics for today. But for those of you in the Chaos Crew, we'll see you later. Hopefully, we'll see you there too. Anything else, my man?
Boogaloo Brown. Off the top rope. We holding Drive Shack. We holding. That's it. I'll see you guys.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Make sure you're hitting that like button and subscribe on your way out. All right. We appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Bye.